Hi all, I know there's no one here yet, but I'll say hi anyway to anyone watching this on replay. Just going to be spinning up some merino fibre. This is approximately 100 grams. I've already spun the first 100 grams. I tend to have 200 grams of each. So I'm just going to prep this a minute and then I'll get spinning. Oh, there's someone's come. Hello, whoever's just turned up. Say hi. I'm just prepping the fibre. I always like to strip it down to thinner amounts to work with. I just find I work a bit easier that way. Oh, whoever came ran away again, apparently. Once I strip this down, I'll just start spinning it. I draft as I go, but I don't have to draft as much if I've stripped it down. Good morning, it's afternoon here for me. It's 2:45 in the afternoon. Sorry, my computer is quite far away and I don't have particularly great eyesight to see things. Shari, is it? I'm sorry if I say that wrong. You'll soon find I pronounce everything wrong. I'm spinning on an Ashford drop. Nope, try that again. An Ashford traditional wheel. I can lift it up. There we go. So, good old-fashioned style. I do have a drop spindle, but I'm not particularly great on it. I'm still learning on a drop spindle. I learned to spin on this wheel first, so that's what I'm better at. So I'm just stripping the fibre down to get it to what I want. I know people can spin it from the thicker strips, but I'm not great. Yeah, I often get things spelt wrong, so it's really helpful when people tell me how it's pronounced, because then hopefully we'll get it right. So I'm glad I got it right. I think these are all stripped down enough now. So I have spun already some today. I finished off these two today, and the last 2 days I've also picked them up, done these ones. None of these have been washed yet, so the spin isn't set. I'm trying to get a whole bunch done and then I'll wash them together and get it done. It just makes it easier if I do it in bulk amounts instead of one skein at a time. But we will get there. So I'm afraid the camera isn't down for you to be able to see the spinning. I don't know how to get 2 cameras on the go. I can try twisting that one further down and see if we can do it, but I don't know if I will. Let's see if I can put it down. These are actually for sale, so they're going to be going down. Will you be able to see me when I do that? There we go, look. Yeah, so I have a stall coming up on the 11th of March, and then I have a fibre festival coming up at the end of March. So I'm prepping yarn to sell for that. So that's what all of this spinning. So I've got, I think, another 4 bags, so another 8 skeins to spin of the merino. And then I will move on to spinning the alpaca, which I have to card yet. The alpaca is straight from fleece at the moment, so I literally got it up the road from me. The alpaca isn't dyed because it's straight from fleece, and I'm leaving that its natural colours. I'm not going to dye that, whereas these merinos are pre-prepared. I've brought them in like this. I do plan on dyeing my own fibre, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet, and I'm not going to have time before the next store, so I'm just getting the pre-dyed fibre that I've got already spun up, and then after the end of March I'll have time to do the actual dyed fibre as well. Yes, this green is actually perfect fat. This is the second one of this. I already have one over there. And I'm spinning the green as singles, so they're not being plied. So they will be this thin. Don't know if you can see. So these will stay this thin because I spun them as singles, whereas these ones are chunkier and they've been plied up. So this particular green was two of this size singles put together. Um, but the purples were spun chunky and then plied together as well, so that you've got really chunky and really bulky one, whereas these will stay as these fine singles, and so actually they really would work lovely as a shawl. There's 200 grams once I've got this one done, so probably could do with getting some more of it in for a large shawl. But 200 grams would get you a reasonable sized lace shawl, I would have thought. Um, Usually does, depending on what sort of shawl you're doing. But, yeah, I never thought of St. Patrick's for it. And this is the thing, I'd actually brought this in the end of last year to do Christmas colourway, but I never got round to it. But actually, it really would work quite nicely as a St. Patrick's one, wouldn't it? Says there's more of you watching, so do say hi. You don't have to be shy. You can come and say hi. So, are you a spinner as well, Sherry? If you drop spindle, I'd love some hidden tips because I'm not so good on that. The appropriate word for drop spindle is drop. I still drop my drop spindle quite a lot. Whereas this, I can just keep going and I'm fine. But I'll get there. It takes practice, and I haven't practiced much with the drop spindle because I like playing on this wheel too much. So at some point, I'll get to the drop spindle and hopefully get better. I know the basics. It's just practice, and practice makes progress. I used to say practice makes perfect, but my niece very rightly told me practice makes progress. We're never perfect. That's an awesome co-worker. None of my family co-workers, when I used to have an actual job, would done any kind of crafting. So that would have been cool. I buy my own craft stuff because everyone says I have too much as it is and I don't need more. But you always need more. I'm a little obsessed with crafts, so I'm always buying more. You're a crocheter. See, I love crocheting. In fact, I do crochet more than I knit. I started off as a knitter, but then I finally learned crochet. It took me a long time to learn crochet. It took until I found the right teacher. But then I never really stopped crocheting after that. So it's been nice to get back to doing some knitting projects. But I'm still doing crochet. I have multiple crochet and knitting projects on the go simultaneously, so I can pick whatever I fancy. Oh, that's so cool. A woodworking company. I love watching woodwork. It's something I'd love to be able to do, but I can't be trusted around saw blades and things. I'm too clumsy. I've been watching a show that another crafter told me about, which is Handmade Britain's Best Woodworker, I think it's called. And they're basically given woodworking challenges to create things like beds and bars and chairs and things. And it's so fascinating to watch. The skill that they have is amazing. It's definitely something I'd like to do. I can do basic, but I couldn't do anything complicated. You know, all these types of joints that they do that are just amazing. Okay. I can do maybe a straight line, which wouldn't be fully straight because I can't cut straight. But I need to use one of those saws that what are they called? They're in a solid machine, not being controlled by me. Because that way it doesn't move and I can't drop it. Same with drills. Handheld drills and me don't mix. I need one that's like a pillar drill, one that stands stiff, and I just have to pull a lever down. That way I can't mess it up. This is what I like about working with wool. If you mess it up, you just take it apart and redo it again. Whereas you can't really do that with wood. My husband's not too bad with wood. He's a beginner woodworker, and he's actually built me an inkle loom based on my ashwood looms, so I have 2 of them, and I do love it. And I've got a whole list of other stuff I want him to build for me as well, um, much to his dismay. But I actually plan on getting. He has a lathe, so I plan on getting him to do me some clock spindles at some point as well, so I can have more than one. And then if they're good enough, eventually I'll sell them. Because that's literally my business, is selling handcrafted products. So it'd be nice if we can get good to do that. It doesn't take too long to work through these bits, but because I'm working with making it really fine, it obviously gives some really good yardage or meterage. So it takes me a while to get through 100 grams of this fine stuff. The chunky, I can knock out a whole skein in an hour. That includes plied up. But this fine lace, it takes me about 2 hours just to spin the one single. You do. Sorry, I've got to lean forward. You do quilting. That is, I have a few friends who do quilting, and their quilting skills are amazing. Um, I am. What's worse than a beginner when it comes to sewing? I can make something out of something else. Like I can take a top that's not quite the right fit, and I can adjust it into something that fits and I like for myself. But to start from scratch is not particularly, unless it's straight lines. I can't do shaping and things, and I can't actually sew in a straight line. Me and my sewing machine have disagreements because I'm not particularly good with it. But some of my friends are going to teach me how to work with it better and understand how it works, which is what I need. So maybe one day I'll do quilts. You love to inkle weave, William. Hi, William. Yeah, I do love my inkle weaving. Actually, for transporting this, I have a belt that when I'm partway through something, I tie a belt around it, and it's actually a hand woven inkle belt, which I do have here. So that's one. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I wove that to use as my belt to secure this, so that when I transport it around, it's not spinning around everywhere because I don't want it to get damaged, obviously. I really should join a spinners guild. We do have some here. My problem is I live in Wiltshire, and the Wiltshire Spinners Guild is really far away from me because I live at the bottom end of Wiltshire, and they're at the top end of Wiltshire, basically. And then there's the Hampshire Weavers and Spinners Guild in Dyersfield. The Hampshire is closer to me than that is, but because I live in Wiltshire, I don't know if they'd let me join the Hampshire one. I don't know. So I am friends with some of the ones from the guilds because some of them come to my craft groups that I run on Monday nights, and I've seen them at events. They do demonstrations and things, so I know some of the members of the guild, but I'm not actually a member of it myself. No, I do go to some spinning groups. They're locals. A couple of ladies who come to my craft group host spinning wheel groups. Weirdly, one of them is actually inside our local Tesco's. They have a community room. So once a month, I take my spinning wheel into Tesco's, which gets some looks, a lot of conversation, which is really good fun. But I'd love to do more, but I run out of energy. But I need to get all of this done before the stall and the fibre press. I've also got a bunch I need to dye up. I've got, it's not spun by me, it's brought it in for me just to dye. But I've got some silk and some cashmere out in the conservatory. That's where I keep all my craft room basically. And I've got to dye all of that up for the 11th as well. So I've got a bit to do. I'm going to get my husband to help me at the weekend. because my hands aren't strong enough to wring out the yarn well enough, and I don't have a spinner for it. I used to use a salad spinner to spin the water out after washing, but I've broken 3 of them now, so I used to buy another one. Yeah, I love getting together with people at my craft groups. Around here, there's a lot of knit and natter groups or crochet groups, but I specifically set up a craft group, which is called Craft and Chat. Basically, you can take any craft you like to my groups, and the amount of things I've learned from people there was we have some quilters, we have some beaders, we have some embroiderists, we have some cross stitchers, we have some pyrography, the wood burning one, I can't say it. And then there's knitters and crocheters, drawers, painters. I do a lot of this myself, but I'm a beginner in a lot of it. And then spinning ladies who come along. And it's just really nice to see what everyone does and to learn from each other, which is really great. That's how I actually learned how to use my spinning wheel. I'd had my wheel for I think about 11 years, and I was about to give it away because I had no one to teach me how to use it. And then I started up this craft group, and a lovely group of ladies come along who had their own spinning group, but because of COVID, the hall they were using, which is the Tesco's community hall, hadn't reopened at the time, so they came to my group and they actually taught me how to use my wheel, and I've been spinning ever since. So I think it's about a year and a half now, maybe coming up to 2 years I've been spinning. And so yeah, I'm really grateful that I started my craft group and they were able to teach me how to use the wheel, because this is really addictive and I find it really relaxing to just sit and zone out and do it. The only problem I get is pain in my leg from the moving the treadle. Uh, if you haven't been at my channel for long, you might not know that I have multiple health conditions, which leave me in chronic pain and chronic fatigue. And so doing a lot of spinning often leaves me in rather large amount of pain by the end of the day. But I don't stop because I love it anyway, and it's just so much fun to do. I'm looking into some of the electric spinning wheels. One of the ladies that came to one of the spinning groups, she has just got the Nano 2, and it's so cute. But you can only get, I think, maybe 50 grams on those bobbins, and I like to work to 100-gram skeins if I can. So I'm thinking about maybe the Ashford e-spinner. That looks really good, so I'm tempted to save up for one of them. I also want to save up for a smaller wheel, that the ones that can go into the rucksacks to make it easier to transport, because this thing is quite a hefty thing to transport. And if I'm taking this around with me, I have to use my walking stick. I can't use my crutches and carry this. And there's no way I can take my electric wheelchair with me and carry this. Just ain't gonna happen. My husband has to help me do all of that. So yeah, I'd like something a little smaller and something I can use when my legs aren't working properly for the day. So at one point I'll get an electric one, but for now I love my traditional, and I'll never get rid of my traditional because it is just so gorgeous to work with. It does have a little wobble to it. It's old, and I've attempted to fix it up the best I can. If you look at it from that way, you'll notice it has a little wobble that way, but it spins fine, so I'm not really fussed. As long as it works, I don't think it really matters if there's a little wobble to it. Once in a while, the drive band might come off, but very rarely. So it works, and that's all that matters, isn't it, really? So are you working on any projects at the moment? I love seeing what people are working on. I know, Sherry, you said you were doing, was it Afghans, you said? Yeah. What sort of Afghans are you doing? I do love doing my blankets. I have a lot of blankets in this house. Usually I've got them behind me, but I've actually got my fluffy one behind me. Normally I sit over with my desk to do lives in the film, and that's got a background of some of the stuff that I've made. but I can't sit there with my spinning wheel because it's literally my desk chair, and directly behind it is the little small sofa, and there's no room for the wheel to fit there for me to work from. And the desk is much higher than my sofa over there. It's a little click-clack sofa, so it's quite low. So I can't actually sit on the sofa and use my laptop to film with. So I thought I'd just come and sit over here in the lounge and spin in here because I need to get the spinning done. It's a bit of a mess, but that's because I have a very large amount of drinks and things beside me. And the yarn that I've been spinning up today and the last couple of days, so I just keep it in my reach because it's easier. And then I'll take it all out to the garage to wash all at the same time. So you can see my niddy noddy there as well. And down beside me there is my lazy cake, so it's all within easy reach, so I don't have to move too far, which is what I need to be able to carry on spinning for the day, because if I have to move around too much to get the bits, I'll run out of energy too soon. Ashford Joy looks lovely. Yeah, I do agree that the electrics take away the kind of traditional sense of spinning, using our treadles and really working away, which is why I'll never get rid of my traditional. Unfortunately, due to my health conditions, there are days my legs don't actually work, and it's very hard for me to put pressure on my legs and make them do what they're supposed to do. And on those days, I don't want to not be able to spin, so an electric would mean that I could continue to spin because my legs wouldn't have to be working properly for the day. So the electric would be used on the days that I'm incapable of using this wheel, which is why I want a smaller one for taking out and about with me, because then I can have that for when I'm out and about, and the electric at home when I'm not feeling particularly great. And I'd even be able to spin from my bed then. Put a tray over the bed, obviously, because there are days that my health means that I can't actually get out of bed, but I don't like to sit there and do nothing. So I usually knit or crochet, but it would be nice if I could spin from my bed too. Yeah, I would love to have been spinning back when I was younger. I didn't really know anything about it back then. It was just knitting and crochet, because none of my family did crafts back then, so I'm self-taught on everything. So it would have been nice to have discovered spinning at an earlier age. But I think even as I get older age, I can continue to spin for a long time. So hopefully I'll still have many years of spinning time left. And I do weave. As I said, I've got my equalers, but I also have 32-inch Ashford rigid needle and the 10-inch Ashford samplet rigid needle thing. So I do have that I weave on as well. And then I have those, I call them the more kiddie style, just the wooden frame things that you work in and you weave on, but I don't use them very much. Hi Anita, hopefully I've said that right. Oh no, just Miss Sherry said she had to go. If you've already gone, Sherry, I'm sorry, but hopefully it was nice to chat to you anyway. This is a problem because the laptop's right in front of me over the table. It's hard for me to see everything going on. I'd love a she shed. Oh, I'm so jealous. But that can be hard work. You're going to need a good drink at the end of it. Have you got much to store? If you've got a she shed, I'm assuming you've got quite a good stash. So, super jealous. one of my friends, Jan Crothers, another YouTuber, you might know her. She has a she shed, and I'm so jealous. I really want one, but my garden couldn't fit one. It's way too small. But one day I will. I'd love my own shop and my own studio. Then I'd really fill it. Here I've taken over the conservatory and the what's supposed to be the dining room, but it's basically a corridor. And I have stuff up in the loft and under my bed, so I've got an in bed. And then also in here, what you can't see to the side is a 4-foot table that's I need to empty off. It's actually the one I use for my stools, but it's currently full of beads, seed beads that I've recently bought, and the bead looms from doing the bead weaving and things. So I have stuff everywhere. Yeah, I plan on taking mine to the beach this summer. My husband's going to take up paddleboarding probably, so I plan on sitting on the beach and spinning, which I'm really looking forward to. I've taken this wheel. Sorry, I've taken this wheel with me when I do my stalls, my events, and I sit there spin, and it gets some of the most wonderful people coming over and chatting. Both kids and adults alike come over and they're fascinated by it and they love learning about it. But what I really love is seeing guys come over with their children and then they're teaching them about the spinning wheel and how it all works. And it's just so nice to see that there's younger guys who don't just assume that this is a woman's thing and that they're happy to do it as well. Because there's too many people who think that yarn crafts is a woman's thing, and it's not. I mean, some of the best knitters are men, fishermen. So I don't know why people assume there's only women who do it. We do have a bloke who does spinning. He hosts one of the spinning groups. So that's the only male crafter that I know around here, which is a shame. There is some woodworkers, but they don't come along to my groups and things. I only know them through doing stalls. It would be nice to get some more males to come along to my craft groups, because at the moment my husband's the only one that comes along, and he has to because he has to drive me everywhere. But he does crochet. He can knit if he has to, but he won't. But he can crochet, and he helps crochet my stock for me. 8 foot by 6 foot. Oh, nice. That's amazing, Anita. It is amazing the I suppose you could come from the small cottage industries that are popping up with more traditional crafts. It's nice to see the traditional crafts coming back in, but in some places it never left. It was just people were, I hate to say, exploiting them for it. But I think now more and more people are realising that you have to pay fair prices for handmade stuff. I mean, I am one of the higher end sellers around here. I do charge way more than a lot of people, which is why I don't tend to do small craft fairs because it's not my market. I'm not going to sell a handmade blanket for 10 quid. It costs me more than that in yarn. But there are some people who are quite happy to do that because they're hobbyists, as they say it, so they don't care that they're not making any money. But this is my business, so I have to. Nita, I have absolutely no idea how to say that name that you put up, but I will Google that later so I can have a look. Left my notepad over there where I normally write down what people recommend, but hopefully the chat will replay and I'll be able to see it. If not, could you shove that in a comment for me at the end of this when it's no longer a live video so I can look at it if you're still about on YouTube at some point. Yeah, after this green I've got pink, another lighter green, and a yellow to go. So the next few days, my Instagram's just going to be full of different coloured yarns that I've spun up. People are going to get bored of seeing yarns spun up on my thing, but hopefully at the weekend I'll start dyeing yarn and there'll be some dyed yarn to see instead. But for now, we're just spinning lots because I need to get it all done. Preferably by the 11th, but definitely before the Fibre Festival because I need to make sure I've got a good stock for the Fibre Festival because it's an eco-conscious Fibre Festival, an eco-friendly one. So they're not too keen on my superwash yarns that I have. They want the more natural non-superwash, which is what all of this stuff that I'm spinning is, and the alpaca that I'll be spinning. I do have a bunch of alpaca already dyed up, so I can use all of that. And I have some organic cotton and linen, which I can use, but I can't use a lot of my superwash because it's not considered eco-friendly. Cool, you do need the rest. That is a lot. I'm tired for you, Anita. Yeah, I totally recommend trying dyeing. It is so much fun. You can have so much colour difference depending on the quantity of dye versus quantity of yarn, and depending on the fibre that you're using. My alpaca fibre dyes very different to my merino fibres and my silks. And obviously cotton and linen is a whole different process because it's a cold dye process. So it's just fascinating to see what sort of dyes you can get from all. I actually have, for my wool fibres, my animal fibres, I have some neon dyes as well, so I dye a lot of neon yarn because I do like my neon yarn. I like anything with a bit of a colour pop, so I do enjoy doing them. But I don't know if I'm going to do any of the cashmere in the neon. I'd wear neon coloured cashmere, but I'm not sure anyone else would because it's such a luxury fibre. Will somebody want a neon coloured yarn with it? I don't know, but I'll have to see. I miss my yarn stash. When I moved from using acrylic yarn into natural fibres, I worked down my acrylic stash. I spent 2 years de-stashing, working, and by the end of it, I actually was just making giant chunky blankets with it all to get it done. So now I have a much smaller stash of natural fibres, and I do miss having a large stash of yarn. So I'm slowly building it back up. Problem is, I have to balance out what I keep to what I sell, because otherwise I'll have no money left. Yeah, neon is just awesome. Some of my yarn look like they're normal coloured yarns until you put them under black light and then they pop. So I have what I call my secret pop colourways. So they look perfectly normal, but actually under black light they just like are really in your face and I love it. Some of the yarns are really obvious that they're neon just looking at them, but the ones that I've put other colours with them, you can hide the neon a little. And I just really like doing that. So I've been building a kind of black lit box coopy hole thing to put on my stall so I can put my yarns in there so people can see what the yarn looks like under black light. It's not perfect because obviously I'm doing stalls in daytime and those will pop better at night, but it gives them an idea. Glow in the dark sock yarn. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, I'm still on search for a dye that would make stuff glow in the dark. I haven't found one yet, which is a real shame. But I've seen some of the glow in the dark and the colour changing acrylic yarns and I wish they were about before I stopped using acrylic, because I'd have so much stuff made from them. I think they're awesome. I have to take a break and have a drink in a minute. But we're getting there on this. Actually having lime soda instead of lemonade today. So actually the lime goes quite nicely with the green. I find the lime's a little more fizzier than the lemonade. But it's still really low calorie. And there's no artificial sweeteners or flavours. It's a really natural drink, so I love it. So a bottle of that a day. Not the healthiest options, but I don't care. I'm allowed one unhealthy thing a day, and that's my unhealthy thing. Anita, you're a member of my Facebook group, because if you are, please post those socks when you've made them in my group so I can see them, because that'd be so cool. And if you're not a member, go on along and join up. Each month I'm doing a challenge. February's is obviously almost over, but the challenge for this month is self. So you have to be selfish and make something for yourself. I actually still haven't got around to doing that. I'm going to do it in the next day or so. But if you put it in the thread before the end of February, then you get a chance to win the prize. Sharon won last month's prize, and she actually chose to have some art supplies. Don't know if they're over there, so I can't see. I actually liked the prize that she got so much, I bought myself some too. So I've got myself some pens. They're neon gel pens for colouring, and I think that's what I'm gonna do for my selfish one for this time, is colour in my colouring book with the pens that I bought, because it's entirely selfish and entirely for me. Yeah, awesome. Can't wait to see them come up. I love seeing what people are making in the groups. Not everyone posts in the group. Some people private message me because they don't want to share in the group. Because not everyone is visible in the group for various personal reasons. But I love it when it gets shared in the group, because then we all get ideas of what people are working on. And I really like that, because I think it helps us learn what sort of things we could do that we might not know that we can do. I've got loads of ideas out of people on my groups and other craft groups over the years who've taught me how to make certain things or do certain projects and certain stitches. It's fascinating. The Rings of Change blanket I made years ago was actually from another YouTuber. Can't remember what YouTube name, Blue Cherub, I think it is. I don't know if she's still going. I've not seen any videos, but then YouTube's not very good at doing notifications. Kim, but she was making the Rings of Change blanket, and I loved it so much. I wanted to make it, and I actually won her giveaway and got the pattern, so I was able to make it. And I would never have seen that if it wasn't for that another crafter was sharing the project. So it's been really nice seeing people share their projects and then learn all the amazing patterns that there are out there. You know, I am a member of Ravelry, but there's so many patterns on Ravelry. Unless you're specifically looking for something, you're never going to see it all, are you? Very quiet today, isn't it? Not a lot of people about. This is the thing, because I have to pick when I'm live by depending on what's going on in the house and how I'm feeling. So last week I didn't go live at all because I actually wasn't feeling very well, and I was super busy trying to get everything that needed to be done. And I had a lot of craft groups and things to go last week. I overextended it myself, and every time I got home I was just too tired to do anything, so I didn't go live. and then this week has been a little busy too. So today was the only day I could go live. Normally I've got my oldest and my youngest coming in and out to go to work and college and things, but my youngest is actually upstairs in bed ill today, so he hasn't gone in and out of work. So he gives downstairs a little bit of freedom for me to go live. So I think my oldest has already left to go to work, I think. I haven't seen him for about an hour or so he must have. So I shouldn't see him around. And Duncan's upstairs in the office working. So he won't be down until he finishes work about 5:30 unless he's got a break long enough to come and make himself a coffee. But you should be able to walk behind the table. I've left enough room. Thanks to whoever gave me the thumbs up. I see I have a thumbs up. I always forget. I should really say things like and subscribe, but I always forget to. I'm not a very good YouTuber. I always forget to say and subscribe. This might be the first time I've said it in like 2 years or something. Thing is, like 90% of my views come from people who aren't subscribed, watching my tutorials and things. So I'm not too worried about how many people subscribe. It's nice having people who are subscribed because hopefully they see notifications and know when to come when I put a video out and when I'm live. But as so many of my views come from people who aren't subscribed, I just try to make sure that I respond to the comments so those who aren't subscribed still get answers from me. There's only a few people I've not responded to in comments, I think, because I don't understand what it says. Google Translate's great, but it's not perfect, and sometimes what it translates doesn't make any sense. So those ones I don't respond to, but I try to respond to all other comments. And I hope to be able to continue to do that. Hi Joe! You made it. What are you working on? Still your granny square, Joe? Not doing too bad a time on this, actually. Well, we are at 42 minutes, and yeah, probably just over the halfway point on this now, so not doing too bad at all. I thought it might slow me down chatting, but actually this is much easier to spin and chat with you guys than it is to crochet or knit, because I don't have to count numbers and things. Back to work, is it, Joe? Getting in the way of crafting again? Or have you got your helpful little helpers helping you crochet, slowing you down again? Not a lot of people have put a link in the February challenge this month, so it's not going to be much of a competition for who wins this month. We'll have to wait and see. And that's okay, because it means that whoever enters gets a better odds of winning, don't they? I think it's all yarny stuff this time around, so it might be a yarny prize this month. I pick the prize depending on who wins to what sort of prize they want. So even though Sharon entered a yarny prize last month, she actually wanted art supplies for her prize, so that's what she got. But I just think it's nice if you can pick the genre of your prize, because some of us do so many different crafts. It's quite nice to possibly win something that's not related to what you entered, so that you can have a new crafty thing. So I've tried to keep the prize open-ended within a certain budget. I can try to find most things that fit around what they want. They will be announcing March's theme soon. Cupboard of Doom. You know what? I have one of them. I hope it wasn't too much of a hassle to sort. Yeah, our cupboard of doom is our under the stairs. Um, we have a thing in this house that we don't bin leads of any kind, so we have an entire cupboard full of random old leads, from Ethernet cables to old computer cables, monitor cables to TV and video cables, old phone cables, because you never know when you might need it. And it did store a good chunk of my knitting machine supplies under there, but recently we've got them out into the craft room so I can at least see what I've got. My knitting machines are all packed away at the moment, so I have room to put them anywhere. And then there's a bunch of random things under there. Some of it was left from the previous tenants or by the landlord, I don't know. But we've left them there because we don't tend to bin it, just in case it is something that's wanted at a later date. Yours under the stairs too. See, I see some people, especially in the craft movement, who have these amazing under the stair units that they've made look so neat with all their crafting supplies. And I look at mine and I'm like, yeah, mine does not look like that. It's not a big cupboard, but it's big enough to fit my knit machines in, so it's not really tight. Um, but yeah, mine does not look lovely, neat, and brightly lit and all decorated. Mine is literally the under the stairs crappy cupboard. At least my sound's working today. I've been checking the sound before I go live each time now, and so far it seems to be working. I think the problem with the first time is I've got this capture software that I use when I'm playing games, and I'd had it up for I was testing something out. I can't remember what I was testing out, but I'd had it connected to my computer, and I think it overrides my sound system. And basically, if it's not running through the capture software, it just does, it's muted, and I can't find a way to stop it doing that. So I've just made sure not to plug it in again, um, and hopefully I won't need to use it again for a little while. I'm supposed to use it to capture if I'm doing something for gaming, but I haven't actually played any games I've captured. I'm too busy just enjoying playing them. And I try to use it to use two cameras, but it doesn't work very well. I think I need a new computer system. It's not particularly great. Yeah, the I dread to think stuff. No, that one well. But our dread to think stuff is up in the loft because at one point, our middle son's idea of tidying his bedroom was to sneak it upstairs into the loft when we weren't looking. So if we went out shopping, he'd tidy his room and dump it up in the loft. So we have to go up there and sort it out. So I dread to think what's up there. I don't know what else to talk about. It's because I've done nothing but spin. I've worked some more on the knitted cashmere shawl that I'm working on, the peacock wedding shawl. But that's upstairs, so I can't show you it. I really should do a craft and chat, but the problem is my computer is currently very, very full, and I filled up the hard drive as well. So I can't really make any videos properly because I've got no room to put the files onto my computer and edit them before I upload them. And I've already filled the external hard drive, which is why I've only been doing these lives because it doesn't require any um, memory storage, which apparently my head is currently running out of too. try to declutter once every few months, especially in my crafting, because I gather a lot of craft stuff. But there's only so much I can get rid of because most of the stuff I use. Sometimes I'm a little brutal and I get rid of stuff that I keep thinking I'm going to use and then I never do. But I've got rid of all of that now. So other than a couple of things that are maybes, there's nothing really left to get rid of out of there. Because I'm also filling it with puzzles. I'm supposed to not buy any more puzzles. I was doing the Life of Puzzles subscription service. But I keep buying more puzzles anyway, which I really need to stop because I don't have time to do the puzzles that I already have here and I shouldn't buy any more. I've actually recently stopped doing the Life of Puzzles subscription temporarily because I just don't have the time to do the puzzles and it's a waste of money that none of us have to keep having them sent and then not have time to do them. So I've temporarily stopped that, but I plan on going back to that as soon as I have more time to actually sit down and puzzle. But I'm trying to rebuild stock after Christmas because I've sold, well, almost everything that I had pre-made is now gone. And a good chunk of yarn and that, so I'm just trying to rebuild it all. But January and February were my months off to recover. So I haven't actually done much of rebuilding, but I need to start doing it early instead of having the full month off because I've got my first stall on the 11th of March. So I have to get rebuilt soon. Yeah, we did a lot of decluttering when I was younger because we moved a lot. Like at one point we moved every 6 months. We had a 6-month contract on a house and then once that was up we moved on to the next house. This is the first house we've actually stayed in for long and we've been here, some math for you, so what, 15 years or something? When did I move in? We moved here 2009, so we've been here since then, which for us is a really long time. Duncan didn't move around a lot as a kid, but I moved quite a lot. And so our boys moved quite a lot when I was doing it on my own, when Duncan was down at uni. So this is the first stable home, I suppose you could say, that we've had, which is nice. I mean, I never planned on being here this long. It's a nice house, it's just not, the garden's tiny and I like a garden. But there's no point moving until the boys finish college and uni and move on to their own places. So we'll be here for several more years yet. Because Mally, my youngest, he's just finishing up his second year of college, but he's also about to start, come September, he'll do another college course that's the next level up. And that's going to be another 2 years of that course. And then there's the degree after, which is what, 2-3 years for the degree, depending on what the thing is. So we're probably going to be here for another 5 years or something before we even consider moving anywhere. Yeah, moving is definitely no fun. Yeah, we rent, which is why we've moved so much. One of the houses, we hadn't planned on moving after the 6 months was up, but 3 months into our 6-month contract, the landlady decided she wanted to move back to the country and was kicking us out. And we couldn't do anything about it because it was a 6-month contract, and so she just filed a, I can't remember what it's called. Basically, it's a no one's fault clause to get us out of the house, so that she could just kick us out and move back in herself. That actually left us homeless for a little while. We ended up sleeping. Duncan's parents luckily had a big enough house that they let us move in with them for a while, and then that's how we ended up here. And we haven't moved from here since. Don't want to risk it. Now we're here and it's stable. I mean, this is technically a rolling month-by-month contract at this point, but the chances of them wanting the house back are pretty slim because it was previously owned by a local dentist who owns quite a lot of the houses in this village, but then he I don't know if he sold or gave it, whatever, to his daughter, and she's now a landlady. Um, and she's got her own house and that, so she's not going to want this house anytime soon. And she seems to be happy with us being here, so that's the way we've stayed, and we will stay for a lot longer. It's a nice house, and though the rent's not cheap, it's actually cheap compared to what it would be if we'd only just moved in. They've not put the rent up too much in the whole time that we've been here, which is really nice. Yeah, it's been nice to stay put in here and feel secure, knowing that this place is owned by people who have multiple rented accommodations. Um, so we know that they're not gonna need this house to move into. So it's been quite nice, and the street's not too bad. It's quiet. We're literally at the end of the cul-de-sac, so it's really quite nice and quiet. And in the last couple of years, I've really got to know my neighbour that's literally attached to me that side, because she comes to my craft group. Um, when I set up the craft group, she joined in, and now we drive her to the craft group whenever she comes, because there's no point two of us taking cars when we're literally next door to each other. So yeah, I've got to know her more. She's a card maker, and she's been doing this card making called iris folding, and it's fascinating to watch. It's so pretty. I've never heard of it before, um, but watching her do them, they just come out so pretty. We did cut out some of the cards on my Cricut, but she actually cuts a lot of it by hand, so she's really quite good at it. Though I don't think she realises how good she is at it. I don't think she has as much confidence as she should have. She definitely undercharges for her work. She puts hours of work into a card and then charges like 3-4 quid, which is insane. They're worth so much more. And then there's a lady who lives down the road, Alice. She comes to my craft group. She's got laser engraving and does these really cool posters and things. So I've got to meet quite a few nice crafters in the village since starting up my craft group. Sharon, who won last month's challenge, she actually lives in the village too. She lives up in a place called Spiders Island, which is actually where I grew up for part of my childhood. So she comes along to the craft group. So it's quite nice. We keep saying every time a house comes up for sale or rent in the village, in our little cul-de-sac, is it going to be another crafter? Can we make this our craft corner? Which would be nice. But I don't really know any of the other neighbours around here. They tend to keep to themselves, unless you've got young kids. And because my kids never went to the schools around here, because they're own schools, so I didn't really get to know any of the mums, you know. It is suddenly getting dark, isn't it? Alexa, let there be light.
Okay.
I hope I didn't trigger any of your lots then. Going by the sound on the conservatory, it's now raining outside. Some places are getting snow this weekend, aren't they? I know one of the ladies that comes to my group, her weather app was telling her we were going to get snow here. My weather app doesn't say that, but my one is usually not right. We've had it say that there's no rain when we're in the middle of a downpour. um, so, I mean, not looking forward to how cold it's going to be. Got the heating on to try to warm up at the moment because it is quite cold and I can't craft wearing my big fluffy stuff because it gets all over. I mean, it gets all over this. You probably can't tell, but I have fibre all over this top. Oh, let's hope it stays dry. Nothing worse than having to go out for walking the dogs in the rain, is it? We had a dog when I was a teenager up on Salisbury Island. I'm not good with dogs. Dogs scare me. Something chronic, they're awful. Um, but I got used to that one. We used to take it for walks. I hated doing it in the rain. But he was a very big dog, and he could pull me over because back then I was a very tiny little girl. I mean, I was like a size 4 at most for most of my childhood. and early teenagers. I think I got to a size 8 when I had Kurt, that's my eldest, and then I got to a 10 when I had Reese, my middle one, and then I got sick, and that's when my sizes went up. And that's UK sizes. Um, I can remember back when I had a lovely 27-inch waist. Now I don't think even my thighs are that small. Well, they are, but they feel much bigger. Yeah, that rain is definitely coming down. I hope you guys can't hear it. I'm hoping I'm far enough away from the conservatory. If I was live over where I normally am, you probably would have heard it. I'm hoping I'm far enough away that you can't hear it. If you remember, this is basically one big open space with odd little archways to kind of make them into rooms. It's a complicated room setup, to be honest. Yeah. We've only got these two to go after we get to this one, so we're doing quite well. I think I showed it earlier when you weren't here, Joe, but I have been working on other chunky yarns that I've been spinning up. Today I've already spun up these two chunky purples, which on my camera are looking much bluer. They are kind of a Cadbury's purple. I don't know if that's going to show up on yours, but they're kind of a Cadbury's chocolate purple. And then yesterday I've done these two. These are more chunky versions than what I'm currently working on. And then these were the ones that you've seen videos from Instagram that I was working on. So these are the jade green. Everything on my computer is looking blue. I don't know why. So I've got them done. So I've had a productive week this week. And this green goes with the single green that I'd already spun up last week before. Can't remember. So this will go with that one. So I've got two of them, and then I will do the pink, yellow, and I'm pretty sure there's another like a mint green over there that I need to do. And then I'm gonna get the alpaca that I've got carded up. That's the fleece, and get that spun, and that's in its natural colours, which is kind of a creamy white and a kind of caramel brown. Yeah, I think this camera is really, really bad at picking up colours. It's a cheap camera that I got many, many years ago. First when I first started my YouTube channel. So what was that, 5, 6 years ago? How long have I been doing this? So I think I need to get a better quality camera. But it's just, I wasn't using it very often, so I didn't see the point. But now I'm trying to do live every week. I think I need to try to get a better camera for it. So if you've got any recommendations of good webcams, let me know. None of my filming cameras have the pass-through capability, so I can't use them as webcams. They're just recording ones, which is really annoying because when I asked the camera man, the assistant at the camera shop, what I wanted, he said this one I had would do it, and it doesn't do any of the stuff he told me. It's supposed to be able to be plugged in easily, and I can plug it in, but the lead is not great, so it's a whole mess to plug in a film with, because the battery sticks out really far. There's supposed to be an adapter thing, but it never had one. And then I wanted to be able to use it as a webcam, which I can't do. And what else did I wanted to do with it? Attach a flash to it, so that, or a light to it, so I can have better lighting when I was out and about, and I can't do that either. Oh, and attach a mic to it, and I can't attach a mic to it either. These are all the things I specifically said I wanted, and he managed to tell me that I can do all of them, and then when I got home, I found I couldn't do any of them. But it's a nice camera otherwise. It focuses better than my old one. My old one, the focus is completely gone, which if you've seen the latest Inkaloom video that I did, the tutorial one, the one that's focusing the smallest window on it, yeah, the focus on that, as you probably noticed, it was terrible, because it's broken. I think I broke it when I took it out one of my vlogs. I went out to Moores Valley for the day, and I filmed using it while I was on the all-terrain tramp and mobility scooter, and I think it was just too bumpy and it shook something and broke it. So it's my own fault. It wasn't capable of handling rough terrain, apparently. But you live and learn, don't you? I'm going to put the end. Yeah, but when you roll something up and then you can't find the end. There we go. One more to go after this one that's just started, so we're getting there. What are we, an hour and 6 minutes? Yeah, I'm doing really good time on this one. Not bad at all. It seems to be spinning up quite nicely. But yeah, this one is supposed to be just called green, whereas the one that I was working on before is called jade green. But I don't know, I'm not sure it's really jade. I'd show you, but of course we all know that my camera isn't showing correctly. Once I get some decent photos, we can have a look on the Instagram once I've got some decent photos of it. But I'll wait until after I've got them washed and reskeined so that they're in their proper final format. As I take them off of the wheel onto my niddy noddy, but this makes a really large skein of yarn, a really long one, and due to one of the shops I put my stuff in having short shelves, I make my skeins shorter. So once they've been washed in that form, I reskein them to check that there's no breakages, no knots or anything like that, and put them into a smaller, slightly chunkier skein to then put the labels around and sell. And it just means it takes up a little less overhang on the shelf. I do still do my 5D paintings. I have a whole chunk of them out there. I recently finished a lion, kind of multicoloured lion thing that my friend Alice gave me. She had some that she wasn't doing. She gave me one. So I recently finished that one. But I plan on doing like I used to do when I did little crafting charts with them. Once I've got all this spun, I'm going to do some 5D paintings and chat with you that way. I've still got some of the big ones that I bought. How many years ago did I buy them? And I still haven't done them. I remember I did a video haul of it, but I can't remember how long ago it was. It was a while ago, wasn't it? But yeah, I've still got them hung out there, so I'm going to do some of them soon. Problem is, I don't know what to do with the finished articles. The last lot that I done, I gave them all away to my auntie's granddaughter. So my cousin's kid. I don't know what that makes her. Is that second cousin or whatever? I don't know. I don't understand the dynamics of that stuff. So I gave them to her, which she seemed to really like. But I've kept the last ones that I've done, and I need to find somewhere to put them that don't get ruined. I had to bin one that got knocked and scrunched up, so I need to find a better storage system for them. Yeah, you should dig them out. Maybe next time I'll give a heads up when I'm doing a craft and chat with one, and then we can do a 5D paintings together. Yeah, because I've still got Beauty and the Beast one, 2 owls, 2 cats, at least 1 dolphin one. Can't remember what the other ones are, but there's a few out there. Unfortunately, I can't use the glove. I bought a pen off Nathan years ago. It's a pink mermaid one, mermaid tail one. I'm pretty sure I showed it on camera when I bought it. Unfortunately, I find it too painful for my hands to hold, so I can't use it. So I've gone back to the cheap, ugly-looking plastic pink things that you get with it. So I'll have to try to find another pretty pen that's one that my hands can hold without hurting too much. Just noticed my chat says top chat. I'm really hoping I haven't missed anyone's chat. Instead of top chat, it's on. I don't know the difference between top chat and live chat. Change it over to live chat. Hopefully, I haven't missed anyone. I should think, well, it's such a quiet chat, I shouldn't miss anyone, should I? But I don't know the difference between them. I don't know why it puts it on top chat. It's not like I've got thousands of people here, is it? Which I like. I like just a small group of people. Because then I can actually see the questions and not spinning past so fast I can't see them. Yeah, there's one that I started, a Harry Potter one, which I was loving doing. Problem is I can't remember where I put the gems that were going with that one. I had lots of containers on the go at the time, and I don't remember which was which. So I need to try to sit down and see if I can work out which one it is. They are so great fun to do, aren't they? My nieces and nephews have done several when they come over as well. They've done the little small ones because they don't have patience to do a big one. But they are so much fun to do no matter what your age, I think. And I find that you don't need too much brain power with them, which is nice on the days that I'm too tired to do anything because I can just look at the symbol and match it. I have a light bulb that I use to help me see the images, but it's a lovely light bulb, but it's kind of a touch screen button, one of those just you gently touch it rather than an actual clicky, and so sometimes my hand catches over and it turns the light off or fades it down or fades it up, which is really annoying. So I think I need to get a better quality one at some point, but that one does the job. As long as it does the job, that's all that matters, isn't it, really? It is, and some of the 5D painters have the most amazing pictures, don't they? Duncan's sneaking past. I guess it's coffee time. Though I didn't see a cup in his hand, so I'm not sure. Oh, yep, sounds like it's coffee time. He's obviously just getting a fresh cup. Got to have the coffee to keep him awake. Our eldest has just got into coffee as well. I do not like coffee. I don't see the draw of coffee. I could probably do it with the caffeine input, but I don't like coffee. I tried to like coffee. I had to put all of the what you call them, the syrups in them, and they were very heavily syruped. Oh, you're having juice. His coffee's already upstairs, or your glass is upstairs. You can speak, you know.
For Mally.
He's pointing like I'm supposed to know things, but he's making a drink for Mally, our youngest, who's in bed ill. So he's making a drink. I'll let you off. Don't know why he won't speak. He knows people speak on live, so I'm not particularly fussy. The only one I know won't speak is my oldest Kurt because he doesn't like being on camera. But I'm pretty sure he's already gone to work.
It's for the poorly little youngest one.
Yeah, I'm more of a herbal tea drinker. I don't do coffee at all, and I don't tend to drink normal tea. Nice that my youngest is getting some fluid, so I'm avoiding him, which sounds really awful, but I don't have time to get sick. So Duncan's doing all of the drink runs and things for him while I avoid him. It's probably just a cold, but you never know. So I'm just keeping my distance. He's staying in his room, and I'm avoiding him at all costs. And I speak to him from a distance. I think after this, Duncan's going to have to massage my leg again tonight because it's hurting. Just have to massage it every night because I keep thinking, I took yesterday off spinning to give my leg a rest because it got to the point that it was painful just to touch. I couldn't put anything on it. But I have to get some all done today because I've got to get it all done before the stores. I'm going to try to film some of the dyeing of the cashmere and that, but the garage is not a lot of space with a lot of stuff in it. So it's hard to get a camera set up in it. So I might have to do short little clips on my phone or something, and then just edit them together. But hopefully we'll be able to see some of the cashmere get dyed. I haven't decided what colours yet. I might do the neon just for myself. But I really should do some normal colours for the stalls first before I dye any colours up for myself. But I've got quite a lot of cashmere out there. I got it from a lovely lady who was doing a stall near me. She was selling on stuff from her mother. So I've got a nice chunk out there to get done. So we're going to get it dyed up. Not all of the stuff will be sold. Some of it will actually be, well, it will be sold, but at first I'll make it into scarves and wraps and things and then sell that because there's a good quantity of some of them. Yeah, I'll try to get some kind of setup. It might not be great angles, and there's definitely no way I'll be able to hide the rest of the mess in the garage because there's bikes. So we're hoping to get the bikes out, but obviously it's not particularly safe to store bikes in an unlocked shed, so we can't put them in there. But we're hoping to try to clear out some of the stuff in the garage so Duncan can actually access his lathe because he can't even access his lathe at the moment. We've got so much stuff in front of it. But there will be some mess in there when I film because it does have the chest freezer and the American style fridge freezer in there as well as the washing machine and the tumble dryer, and then all my dyeing equipment, and then Duncan's lathe, as well as the bikes and a bunch of other normal stuff you have in a garage. So it's quite full up in there. The chest freezer actually has become a side for me when I'm dyeing. So instead of being a white chest freezer, it's a very multicoloured surface now. I do try to clean off after, but dye stains. So it's very multicoloured. But it still freezes. That's all that matters, isn't it? No matter what colour it is. And it makes a very useful surface for putting my containers on because it's nice and big. Alright, Joe, well, thanks for coming. It was nice you managed to find some time to come along. I wasn't sure if you would because I didn't know what you work on Fridays. So it was lovely to see you. And hopefully I'll be able to give better notice next week, but I don't know what time I'll be going live again because it depends on what else is on for the week. Exactly, Anita. My home is definitely lived in. I do not have a show home. I don't have the room for a show home. I have actual stuff and a lot of stuff. And some of it, needs to go to the dump or something, or is just there for just in case. Most of the stuff is stuff that we use. So, it has to be in the house or in the garage. Because, like the bike backs and things, where else would you store a bike back if you don't store it in the garage? And up on the walls of the garage, we actually have the old style wooden sleighs, or sledges, whatever you want to call them, that kids ride down on snowy hills and things. They were Duncan's parents, they lent them to us when the boys were younger, and we still have them here. They haven't asked for them back because there's no one else that needs them, so we still have them. So they're up on the walls, so it's everyday living after having children and being here 15 years, you tend to fill things up, don't you? I'm probably going to go soon myself because we've been going on an hour and 20 minutes. I don't think I'll get all this done in that time, but I've done well. I'll have the rest of it finished tonight. I think I might have to take a small break and give my leg a little rest. Maybe a half-hour rest, and then I'll get back to spinning it and get it finished before tonight. And then tomorrow I will start on the next colour. I'm probably going to do thinner ones again, like this one, rather than the chunkies that I've worked out. I just wanted to get a couple of chunkies knocked out, and then do more thin. So I've already got some chunky hand spun out there, so I just wanted to get a few more. And then these thin ones, these green are singles, so lace weight, but the next ones will be thinner, but they'll spin up to, once plied, they'll probably be about fingering 4 ply sort of weight. We'll see once I'm finished how they come out. Because though I'm getting good at keeping consistency, I'm still not 100% great at judging how much it's going to puff up and change once washed to what size I'm going to get. But you know, that comes with practice, because it also depends how tight I've spun. Some of my ones, like those chunky ones, they're a looser spin, whereas these singles tend to be a tighter spin to make them stronger. And then my other ones are kind of a mix between, depending on what I fancy doing. So each one puffs up slightly different because of the way the fibres are compacted. And I'm sure someone who's been doing it a lot longer will be able to say, oh yeah, that's going to come up to this sort of size. But I don't know yet. Oh, wow, that sounds amazing. I love it's back then you made things out of what you had available, and you just the amount of things that could be repurposed into other things was amazing. These I don't know if they were brought in or handmade by someone in Duncan's family. I don't know, but they're definitely more the old traditional style sledge, which is why I loved them when Duncan's parents let use them for the boys, because it's just nice to have more traditional rather than the plastic solid ones. These ones, you know, they have steering capabilities on the string and things like that, which makes them so much more fun. And a lot of kids in the village liked playing on them. So obviously lots of other kids liked them over the plastic ones. I like the good old fashioned metal and wooden ones. They're just so much more fun. My dad wasn't crafty. He was a car person. He was a lorry driver by trade, but on his time off, he always worked on cars, and I think that's where my middle son Reese gets it from. Reese is currently in apprenticeship at a garage, but he's been working on cars since before he could drive. He loves cars, so he definitely gets that from my dad. Whereas Mally, our youngest, he's doing motorsport engineering. He's much more into racing cars, and I think he gets that from Duncan. Not that Duncan works on cars, but Duncan likes watching motorsports, and Mally grew up watching motorsports, and then he really got into the engineering and the aerodynamics of it all, and he was teaching himself that as part of his home education. And he went on to college to continue doing it, which I think is really good. Because it's not something I couldn't have taught me aerodynamics about cars, I ain't got a clue. But that's the fun of home education, as he was able to teach himself. And to be honest, on this particular college course he's doing at the moment, this one is the electronic side of it, or to elect, I think they call it. The tutor that he's got is kind of crap, so he's basically teaching himself it all again. So I think that's been handy that he was home educated. He was taught how to find that information out for himself and not rely on someone else to give it to him. Which it shouldn't be something you need to do when you're going to a college course, but I mean, they were lucky it's running at all, because at one point it wasn't even going to run because there wasn't enough people wanting to do it. So I suppose we should be grateful that it's running at all. Yeah, exactly. Things were made to last, and then it became too much of a throwaway society. Whereas now things are starting to be made to last again, and I'm really pleased with that. The Eco Fiber Fest that I'm doing is called Fiber Quest. The festival that I'm going to, it's an eco one, and they're all about using local produce and keeping your carbon footprint down and that. And I'm not as eco-conscious as they are. They are definitely very highly eco-friendly. They've got their own sheep. They're raising around and sperm, washing and spinning and all this stuff from raising the sheep themselves. I can't do that. I don't have room for doing that sort of stuff, and I do not have the energy for doing that. But I try to buy my supplies from eco-conscious and animal welfare conscious. So, like all my merino comes from well-kept sheep, not uh, muesling. I can't say it, but they do some awful stuff to sheep in some places. I make sure my stuff all comes from eco-conscious and animal welfare conscious companies. Um, because wool is better because it breaks down in landfills better, but it also lasts well and it's much better for people to use than acrylic. I mean, I love acrylic, don't get me wrong, but it's just not eco-friendly. And I've tried to move away from using acrylic ones just because it's just not eco-conscious. But for some people, especially those with wool allergies, you need to use the other stuff. So it's just a matter of finding what works for you and being as eco-conscious as you can. And I think people building things from wood and that again is part of what's making these things easier, because there was nothing wrong with wooden sleighs, so why did we have to go to mass produced plastic ones? And there's nothing wrong with these old style wooden spinning wheels, so why do you have to go to plastic ones? They're nice. I mean, the nano is lovely, but you know, you can still make them from wood and they're still lovely. But I always say my skills from doing all this yarn stuff um, is a post-apocalyptic skill. I'm creating capabilities of providing if we lost access to modern conveniences, because you know, making stuff from wool and that can easily be done without any electric whatsoever. And let's face it, things without electric is needed nowadays because it's blooming expensive. Yeah, exactly. There's a time and place for everything. Um, I'm I have cotton and linen in my fibres. I can't actually take the cotton with me to the eco fair because cotton is not considered eco-friendly because of the way it's made. But I make like cotton face scrubbies and things, and as far as I'm concerned, that is way eco-friendlier than doing the throwaway cotton pads and things, so it still counts for me. That's why I say I'm a eco-conscious rather than eco-friendly, because I don't see a problem with using cotton. It's less damaging for the environment on every day, you know, when washing and things. It's hopefully the making of it will get better as organic cotton is improving and things. Um, and let's face it, there's some damn pretty acrylic yarns. And then you get things like Stelena and that, which is just so pretty and shiny. But there's like bio nylon is what I use for my stock yarns now, biodegradable nylon, which is really nice and it does the job. And I like bamboo. I want to test out nettle, and one of the ladies in one of the booths was spinning with milk protein, which is fascinating. I'm not sure how that's made. And I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't know if something made by milk protein is the same thing I could use. I genuinely know nothing about milk protein, so I don't know. Is it even actually from milk, or is it just that's the name they use and it's something else? I don't know. I need to look into that. But there's some fascinating fibres that are made from plants now. I mean, obviously linen and flax and hemp, most people know, but like nettle is one that I've seen coming up now, which I'd love to test out, and obviously bamboo. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what sort of things come out. I somehow managed to get a little twist and it's not done properly there. Never mind. It's spun properly, it's just not gone around the bobbin properly. Don't know how that happened. Once I take it off, it'll be fine. Yeah, so if you actually use milk yarn, do you know much about it? Because I really don't. Is it made from actual like milk protein stuff? In which case, will it be a problem for people like me who's lactose intolerant? So I can't. My eczema means I can't touch a lot of things I shouldn't touch. Like I'm gluten intolerant, and I actually can't make bread and things with gluten wheat because it sets my eczema off. So I don't know how it would work with milk protein. But yeah, it is fascinating to see all these things. Oh wow, it's over 10 minutes since I said I was going to stop. This is what I mean, I kind of just get into this and then I just carry on going and I don't stop. But I'm on the last one now. So, getting there. So yeah, I think it will take me around 2 hours, maybe a bit less actually, looking at this, to get this one done. Of course, this is only one skein of the thing. If I was plying it as well, then I'd have to add another 30 minutes to it. But as this is going to be a single, once this is washed, it's done and dusted. So about 2 hours to make it. It's not too bad. Yeah, so I don't know if I'd be able to touch the milk proteins then. It does look pretty. It looks so shiny. Another one someone else was spinning with. What was it they were spinning with? I saw them. There's another weird one. I can't remember what it was now. It's always the way that when you try to remember something, it pops into your head and then it pops out. But there are some amazing fibres that you can work with now in yarns that are all plant-based and non-wool based fibres, which is great for all those who are allergic to wool. And then, of course, vegans, obviously, they need their bamboos and their cottons and their flax and things, because obviously they can't have normal wool. This is what confuses people. I'm a gluten-free, dairy-free, non-meat eater. So people are like, oh, so you're a vegan? It's like, no, because I work with yarn, I work with wool. I can't be a vegan. I use animal products. I'm just intolerant to milk, so I don't have milk, and I happen to be a non-meat eater. I don't say vegetarian because there are the odd things that I have that the vegetarian wouldn't have. Like I do like a good Haribo. So if my boys have Haribos in, I will have one of their Haribo sweets and things. Yeah, so don't use if you have dairy allergies. So in that case, I'd probably say if I don't touch the milk proteins then, because I don't want to set my eczema off, and I know that just touching wheat-based products sets my eczema off, and that I'm intolerant to wheat. So probably best to stay away from the milk protein then. But I want to try spinning bamboo and silk because I haven't spun them. I've dyed bamboo and silk quite a lot, but I've never actually spun it. So I do want to try spinning it myself at some point, and see how that goes. I gather it can be quite slippy and harder to work with, but it's still something I'd like to try. It's a nightmare, isn't it? Eczema just, I don't know about yours, but mine just seems to have its cycles, and at the moment mine's pretty bad. My legs are covered at the moment. Luckily my hands are okay at the moment, because at one point my hands have got so bad I had to wear cotton gloves over my hands at all times because the eczema had got infected. But it's just, it seems to come in cycles, and my legs have been acting up for about a year now and they just won't get better. I'm hoping they will get better again soon. My boys have eczema too, but luckily it's not affected them so bad. I have it head to toe, and then different parts of my body act up at different times. And everyone's like, "Oh, we'll just change your diet." This is like, I already don't eat wheat, I don't eat gluten, minimal tomato, minimal onion, no mushrooms. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I can't have because of my tummy problems. So there's not much I can cut out that's going to help my eczema. So it's not all about diet. And my shampoos and conditioners and things are all natural products. No silicones and alcohols and all that sort of stuff. And my clothes washing are all natural ones. So, there's only so much you can do. Sometimes your eczema's just going to act up no matter what you do, isn't it? There's certain wools I can't touch, because even that's bad for me, which is why I always work with merino. I don't tend to work with the normal sheep. I say normal sheep, please, because merino sheep, but some of the rougher sheep wools. There's actually, I was going to try out King Cole, I think it is. They do a merino, they call it merino blend, but it's 100% merino cones of yarn, and I want some cones of yarn for my knitting machine, so I was going to try using them. But one of the ladies in my craft group was actually using the ball ones of them, so same stuff, was just done in small balls or cones. And when I felt it, it was really hard on my hands, so I don't think I can actually use it, which is a real shame. Whereas this is like fine and extra fine merino, so it's really, really soft, which is what I need. Yeah, the King Cole one really is rough, isn't it? Yeah, I think mine's had it. My mum has, they always said it was contact dermatitis, hers, but I think it was closer to eczema as well, because she has a lot of problems. My eldest son, bless him, he had really, really bad cradle cap as a baby. I mean, like, it was like solid on his head because of his eczema. It was really, really bad. But we've both been reasonably lucky, and we've never had a massive breakout on our face. I do have some issues on my face. I don't wear makeup or anything to minimise any of that sort of stuff. I try to wear makeup, I just don't know how to wear it. So I've been quite lucky, it's not been terrible on my face. I do have moments where around this sort of area it gets pretty bad, but luckily not too bad. There's like some of my stuff gets really badly red. My legs at the moment are just big red rashes. It's horrid. Oh, I didn't even know Serda did a merino and cashmere one. I'll have to look into that. Ooh, thanks. Yeah, I've only ever used their acrylic ones. I didn't know they did a merino one, so I'll look into that. I do like Serda's products. noticed that someone else doesn't do well with the rough stuff. A lot of the ladies at the spinning group, they don't seem to have so much of a problem with the rougher wools. They find that they're still lovely, whereas I've touched some of the stuff and I've like, oh, this is awful. But they said it's smooth to them, so I definitely have a more sensitive skin to them. And yeah, I think it's down to one, I have my eczema is a nightmare, but also because of my fibro, I find a lot of things much rougher, more painful. So combine a flare up of my eczema with a flare up of my fibro, and there's not many things I can wear nowadays that just anything is painful against my skin, so I just stay up in bed. And I don't actually put any of the normal clothes on. I have some dry clothes that are much smoother, and I just live in them. Though I do have a lovely dress and a lovely pair of flares from a company called the Carolina Dress Room, which I got introduced to by some ladies in my craft group, and their clothes is actually made for fibro sufferers. The fabric they use is really, really soft. So I'm going to buy a whole bunch more stuff from that because it's just so nice. It's not natural fibres, but I have to pick between having natural fibres and being able to get dressed. I can't really go around walking around naked now, can I? That would scare everybody. Yeah, exactly. I'm fussy. I don't, just because they don't mind, it doesn't mean I want to give them something that's. My family have often had acrylic wools because they've never coped with real wool products. Um, it just wouldn't go well. They'd throw it in the washing machine, it wouldn't end well. But even then, I only used what I considered really nice, soft acrylics. So I wouldn't use any of the rough ones. A lot of what I used was Stylecraft Special DK because that actually passed the chemical safety testing for toys. So I used a lot of it for that. Um, so my family got a lot of stuff made in that. But now that I'm using natural fibres, I don't tend to make a lot for giving away to my family because they don't have the time and the capability to care for real wool products. They need to be able to shove it in the washing machine, shove it in the tumble dryer and be done with it. And you definitely can't do that with real wool, even superwash. I still recommend hand washing. Yeah, sure. Carolina Dress Company. I'll pop their website and their Facebook page up for you. They do. It's colourful clothing. Don't know. I think I may have had one of the videos with me wearing one of the dresses. I'm not sure. But yeah, awesome company. It's not the cheapest, but compared to some companies, it's not actually a bad price. And it's definitely worth the money. Their clothes are so soft, so smooth that even on my most painful days, I can wear that clothes. Are they? I've not seen much stuff about stuff. I'm gonna have to look into that now because I don't like to recommend companies that are iffy. So I'll look into that. Thanks for the heads up. I know the one time that I phoned and spoke to them and emailed them, they were nice enough, but they definitely look down on us smaller businesses. They only deal with big bookshop companies. They won't deal with someone like myself, which is silly because at the end of the day, it's us small time users who are the ones buying their products in large enough quantities. We're just buying it from the bookshops because they refuse to sell to us. But if we weren't buying that, then they wouldn't be getting it anyway. So I don't know why they won't deal with us. Whereas I've got some companies who have no problem dealing with us smaller. So I've got a couple of the people who I buy my handdyedyarn from, they have no problem dealing with me as a small company and not a good shop. I don't see why big companies refuse to deal with us small time businesses, because there's a lot of us about, and if they dealt with us more, they'd probably get even more sales. Cutting out the middleman. I always say that till the day I die, I will be very colourful. I mean, it doesn't look like it right now, but I love colour. And soon I'm going to have white pink hair again. I just need to find the time to dye it up again. Um, but I love as much colour as possible. I don't like dark colours, but I was going through a stage of just trying to find anything that fitted me. And this was the colours the shop sold in town. My local shopping for larger ladies, especially short people like me, they don't have a particularly great range. And apparently, they seem to think that if you're a larger lady, you only want to wear dark colours. And so all I've got is dark colours. But now that I found the Carolina dress room, I'm getting bright colours again, and it's really nice. Because I need bright colours in my life. I've got to be careful. Sometimes I get carried away and I speed up my leg, and then I over twist. So I've got to pull longer bits out then to stretch the twist out, transfer over more. I'm almost finished this. I might as well stay on until I'm finished now. But we're getting there. There's not much left of it now, just that to go. My mother-in-law's, when I first met her, she had a small amount of reddish pink in her fringe. And she always said she'd want to go like all over, but it's kind of frowned upon. But slowly over the years, more and more has been creeping in. And the other week when I went to Carvery with Duncan and his parents, I only ate the vegetables obviously because I don't eat the meat. I saw her hair and she's actually got a lot more of the pink in her hair now, and it's looking so pretty. I keep saying you should just go full head. She only has like streaks of it in. But I'm like, just go full head, it'd be great. But I'm not sure if Duncan's father would approve of that. So he might kill me if I encourage her to go full white pink. My youngest takes after me for hair colour. I keep dyeing his hair. He's had 3 or 4 different colours in the last few months. We use conditioning semi-permanent colour, not permanent colours. So it's not bad for your hair. And I am a fully trained hairdresser, so I do know what I'm doing. But I keep doing his hair different colours, which is quite nice. Because I find it a self-expression. Yeah, I am 5 foot nothing on a good day, and definitely on the rounding side. I'm working on getting thinner. My cushion syndrome and my ME and fibro has meant that over the years I've gone from being very, very tiny to being very, very large. But slowly but surely it's coming down. I came off my asthma pumps, and that got rid of the cushion syndrome and the adrenal suppression. Meant that my asthma is no longer under control, but it means that with the cushions gone and the steroid overdose gone, that my weight is slowly starting to come back down, which is nice. So I'm getting there slowly. You have to put a picture of your hair up in the group, Anita, once you've gone purple. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I've been rainbow before. I've had full on rainbow when I had a bob. My twin sister, who was also trained as a hairdresser, she done rainbow bob for me, and I loved it. I don't want to go back to a bob, but I wouldn't mind going rainbow again at some point. But I've been my natural colour properly for a while because I've been retraining my hair for years and years. I just kept my hair straight, brushed it straight, and thing. I mean, it wasn't particularly. It was very fly away. And then I recently learned. Well, I say recently. We're coming up to a couple of years now. Learned that people who have a lot of fly away frizzy hair might actually have wavy hair or curly hair. So I was trying that, and actually, it turns out I actually do have quite wavy, naturally wavy, even curly on the bottom parts. Um, so I've had no chemicals going in my hair. Well, I let my hair go back to its natural state. Um, but it's been, I think, about a year and a half now since I've done anything with it. So I think it's ready for me to just put some gentle bright pink in it. I'm not going to bleach my hair, so it won't go as bright pink as I used to have it. But in the summer, my hair naturally bleaches in the sun. I often look like I've got natural highlights, so I'm aiming to go pink using those natural highlights to give me some colour. But I might not hold off that long, and I might just see what the pink looks like on my natural brown hair, which is getting a little lighter with age. So obviously I'm getting to the age where at some point it's going to start going grey. I've got some couple of streaks of lovely silver grey. I actually can't wait until I go grey. I think it's awesome. So we will see. It sounds like we do very similar things with our hair. My twin sister's never cut her hair. Hers is at her waist length, but she won't cut hers. Whereas I've got inverted bobs and really short, and then it's also getting really long again. And it's probably about there in its non-wavy state. In its wavy state, it's more like there. At the moment, I've just got it tied back because I couldn't be bothered to do anything with it. But I definitely am going to go brightly coloured again because I do miss my colour. I hope to get it long enough to be longer than my sister's again. It's an ongoing thing. She likes me cut my hair, so she's got the longer hair, which means I now need to grow it longer so that it becomes longer than hers. But I've cut my hair short and grown it as long as hers multiple times over the years, so it won't take me long to get back to her length. It's only taken me a year to get back to this length, so I think I just like to wind my sister up. It's fun, you know. And we're not one of these twins that love to do everything together. We are definitely try to be everything opposite together and try to ag each other up a lot, which is really good fun. Pure white underneath, nice. I bet that's so pretty. It's just funny. I find my hair is part of my self-expression, especially as I got sicker and I wasn't able to do all the things I used to do. That part of my stress relief, other than my class, was doing things with my hair because it makes me feel refreshed and newer. And when I'm feeling really low and really crappy because my health is playing up, having something done to my hair was really helpful. But I'm not one of these who worries that, I'm going to cut my hair off, I'm going to cry because I've cut my hair off. That doesn't bother me. I have no problem cutting my hair, or if a colour goes wrong, it goes wrong. Because it's hair, it'll grow back. So I think that's left me with a lot of freedom to do what I want to my hair because I don't worry. Whereas my sister, she really worries about her hair. It's kind of like a security blanket, I think. So she doesn't do much to it. And that, just double check, that's the whole 100 grams spun up. An hour 54, so just under the 2 hours. So take this off so you can have a look. There we go. You can see there where it didn't wrap properly, but otherwise the colour on this screen is shocking. But that is a very good, nice green. I'm trying to think what I could describe it as. I'm not very good at describing colours. This is part of the problem I have when I'm selling my yarns, is I'm really bad at describing what things are. I like making, I'm not so good at the selling side of it because I just, I've made it and it's made, that's it. Oh wow, crew cut's quite intense, isn't it? I haven't gone quite that small, that short. Luckily, I've never needed to. But if I had to, because something went wrong, I would. So I'm going to stand up to the side while I just take this off onto my niddy noddy. You can see how fine it is. So this will stay as a single. I won't ply this one up, but we'll get it into a skein and then it can be added to the rest. It's so much fun watching people spin, isn't it? I actually follow a few different YouTubers and TikTokers who spin and when they're carding their wool and things, because it's just so fascinating to watch it all be done. I wish when I was first starting out there was more YouTubers doing this sort of stuff, because when I first started out, when I first got my wool 11 years ago, there was nobody to teach me, whereas now you just put a search in and you can find loads of people showing how it's all done. I plan on doing some videos for the basics of spinning, explaining what parts of the wheel are and all that at some point, but I just haven't got around to filming it yet. I need to make space on the laptop for the video files. Yeah, it's lace weight. Yeah, if I plied this up, it would probably be sport weight, but as I'm doing as singles, it stays as lace weight. So I'm not sure what the yardage is on this, but it's probably maybe somewhere close to 700 meters or something, probably something like that. That tends to be roughly what my lace weight comes out at, but it's different each time because it's being hand spun. So it takes a lot of wrapping around to get it off. But once it's on here, I have to get a second pair of hands to tie it off, because when I take it off this and hold it in my hands, I need my husband to tie the knot for the two ends, because I find I get better even tension if I do it off the niddy noddy than tying it when it's on the niddy noddy. So I'll leave this on until he's finished work and then he can help me take it off, and we'll add it to the rest of it to be washed. Once it's washed and dried, it'll all be done. Part of the fun of doing the chunky weights, it doesn't take so long to do this bit. This bit takes quite a while. When I'm doing the chunky weights, I tend to do it a bit neater, but lace weight is going to be double crossing itself so much, there's absolutely no point trying to make sure they all line up properly, because it's just going to run out of space on the niddy noddy. Helps if you don't miss. That's not on camera very well, but I can't go too much lower because I'll hit the spinning wheel, which would be just my luck. Remember the first time I tried to put it on this niddy noddy, I was so confused on how you wrap it. I just could not get my brain to compute how it worked. But now it's pretty easy to do. It just makes one big long loop once you take it off. I think it's spun pretty balanced though, looking at the way it's going on here, which is nice. It shouldn't need too much weighing to take the bounce off of it for it to be a single, because if I was plying it, it wouldn't matter if there's any kind of bounce because it gets untwisted slightly when you ply. But if you're working a single, that bounce is needing to come out a different method. So once it's washed, you tend to thwack it or snap it, which evens out that balance along the strands, and then that stops it bouncing up on itself. Because at the moment, if I think you see it twist up on itself, so if you ply, that will come out naturally. When you do it as a single, you have to take that out during the washing and drying stage. So if there's loads of bounce, then you often weigh the yarn down to help set it in a way that it doesn't bounce back. But this one doesn't seem to be too bouncy, so hopefully once I've washed and dried, it'll actually be pretty balanced. You can tell it's balanced when you hold the skein up in its loop form. If you hold it out, if it twists around on itself, that's got too much bounce in it. If it just hangs down straight, then you know you've taken that bounce out. So it's just if it's not balanced when you initial crochet with it, it can put a slant on your work, which you don't want. As soon as I got this off, I'm gonna go because we've been going for 2 hours 3 minutes. This is a problem. I always plan on an hour, but I end up doing more. And I figured we were so close to finishing this, I might as well stay on when I finish it, hadn't I? But thank you for coming along and sticking around with me for so long. It's been nice to have someone to chat to and not be just on my own for chunks of time. Almost to the end. Where did I get to? Okay. So, detach it from there, which I spun it too well, so I'm going to have to snip it off. Sometimes if I don't spin the end too tight, I can just pull it off. Sometimes I spin it a little too tight and I can't, and I have to snip it off. But there we go. So that's done with terrible lighting, but so that will be taken off, done up, and then turned into one that looks like that. So it's all done. So I'm gonna go. Let's pull the thing a bit closer. I'm gonna get real close to me now while I do this. But thanks for coming along and chatting and seeing me spin, and you got to see me do the whole single instead of only half. So that was fun. And hopefully next week I'll be back. Whether I'm spinning or doing something else, I don't know. We'll see how I'm doing and what I've got to get done ready for the 11th, because we're getting close to it now. But otherwise, I will see you all next week. So you take care, and thanks for sticking around, Anita. It was nice to have someone to chat to right up till the end. So hopefully I'll see you next week. And yes, post in the group so I can see when you do your hair and when you do your glow in the dark socks and things. That'd be so cool. So you take care. Bye.